and I'll do, you want me to do the introduction?
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be great, okay. So thanks you guys for coming. Yeah, Rebecca's under the weather today, or she's here. So, yeah, we were just gonna, the idea of this was just like, we have a lot of experience with mergers and acquisitions in our, among my client base, and then even the people who are in the audience, JP and Steve are both on kind of the succession kind of trail as well. We're interested in that kind of pathway forward. And so we could all be switching seats at any time here and presenting to each other. But Ian works with Green Tractors, and he has since 2013. And Green Tractors has done something like 5 mergers and acquisitions in the last 10 plus years. Yeah. So really on an expedited pace. And so I kind of had Ian's job at Green Tractors, and we did the first few, and then I started my company kind of based on that merger and acquisition experience. Then Ian came in, he's carried on, and they've done more mergers and acquisitions to get to their size today. Went from like 20 employees to like 170 today.
Yeah, over 200 actually.
Is that right? Crazy. Yeah. And so it's a different animal. But talk about experiencing every scenario, right? When you do that many and that quickly, and all different structures and formats. And then Aaron has, well, it's not a merger or acquisition, but they started engaged engineering 10 years ago. Coming up on 10 years, which is amazing. And it's 20-some employees now, it's crazy. And then just completed the purchase of Basterfield Associates, 2022. Yeah.
Business for 3-5+ years.
Yeah, and so, and my company, like I said, my main experience is working with Green Tractors internally, and then as the HR and sourcing firm for them, and then working with Aaron on his, and then with all of our client base, all of my clients, most are in construction and trades, and all are growth-oriented and interested in mergers and acquisitions and succession, etc. That's the way forward.
Oh, of course. I wouldn't deal with anybody else. Sorry.
No, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just thought that an easy way to kind of arrange this was that I scribbled down like kind of 9 or 10 ideas about some observations I've had, and then I sent them over to these guys, and they scribbled on their notes. So we thought we go through the first one, and then these guys can weigh in with their experience, and then you guys can weigh in with your experience, and we'll move to the next one, and just do that and see what kind of value we can hopefully add here. That's all right. Anything else to add, you guys? Okay, good. Good. Well, actually, the first thing I was going to say is actually, like, I didn't want to speak on your behalf, but like your kind of personal, what's close to your heart? Is it mergers and acquisitions, or selling your firm, or acquiring another firm, or maybe what's kind of close to your heart on that subject matter?
Well, we're actively starting succession planning for our business. So we've been doing this for 25 years, and looking for a new generation of leadership, and have just begun to do it actively now. So working with Grant to be part of that, to hide off the HR and put someone else and all that stuff. And then we've also started working with another consultant on succession planning very deliberately. And then we're also doing some recruiting right now, and we have succession planning as part of our objective as we recruit this new.
And Steve?
I'm in the middle of succession planning currently. I've just come, you're always learning at these seminars, so I'm here just to pick up some tidbits.
For sure, yeah, but you're kind of in the middle of succession.
Yeah, I'm in the process of going through it.
Yeah. And Sandy, what's your close to your...
So we're a small company. There's only 7 of us. We've been around for a long time.
Mm.
I have my son runs the shop for me. It's always been family.
Oh, great. What's ACM Design?
We're a full service interior design firm. We
Oh, wow.
have approximately 17 employees,
Wow.
something like that.
That's really interesting. Okay, great. And so we are going to just kind of go through our kind of observations from our collective experience with mergers and acquisitions and succession, and then we'll just see what we can add to that. So the first one was what happens to profitability of the acquired company after acquisition. So that was one idea that popped in my mind, and I said, I've been involved. I talked about, I've been involved with acquisitions of companies that were losing money. I've been involved with acquisitions of companies that were making money. My experience is that every company is now, that was losing money, is making money, and every company that was profitable remains profitable. So that's a nice outcome from this process in my experience. And but I did say that often profitability suffers in the short run after the acquisition due to the need to reinvest in the company. Sometimes, I can think back to some acquisitions where where the owner had been not invested in the company, training people, tools, equipment, facilities, all those things are kind of let slide. And so when you do the acquisition, you hopefully are able to integrate that into the purchase, but it still does result in some pretty big costs after the purchase. So that was my observations on that topic of profitability after. Ian, did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just a couple things I thought of was when we're going through the process, we typically build out a 3-year income statement and also a balance sheet then as well, just to look at what our projections are for the next 3 years. Our experience has been that, kind of what you mentioned about the previous owners not investing, we find that there's pent-up demand, that if you introduce more inventory to that store, all of a sudden there's customers are raising their hands saying, hey, we want to buy that, just because we haven't had the capability of doing that in the past. So in my experience, we've seen sales take off at the new acquired store because of that pent-up demand. It seems to come back down after about the second year because they've kind of used up all that demand has kind of been used at that point. But those first couple of years, it's more people are seeing the inventory, seeing the chance to grow and buy stuff, and that's where it kind of takes off for sales wise then too. So.
Oh, that's the opposite. Yeah, sort of the lack of investments is also a sort of lack of focus on revenue, which comes back a little bit. That's cool. That's cool. Aaron, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, from my perspective, experience on the acquisition, we sell time basically, right? So yeah, coming into the purchase, a lot of the office equipment just hadn't been dealt with for years, so new plumbing, new print systems. So some of those things that have just been, neglected. So yeah, for me, the things that stand out is being able to address AR for us. AR was built into our acquisition, so now all of a sudden you're fronting your operating costs. So AR is anywhere between 50 and 100 days. So you need to be fully funded for that. And so technology and having that invested in the first years, I found is pretty important, and for sure it's down to make sure that we are having that technology moving forward.
Right. And you've done some investments in like business systems and the like too. Right?
And that was part of the acquisition was a solid business, but in terms of maybe some of the business, reputation, but the business behind it, we got to put ERP in place and enterprise resource planning, so that'll take us from our invoicing, time sheets, our workbook planning, so which we find to be pretty helpful. You can see what we can run our KPIs and see how business is doing every one system.
Cool.
I have a question. So we're in the middle of that, and we've been investing a ton of money into business systems and software to try to build a platform. And I believe that's the better wisdom, right? Is to build a strong set of systems that someone's going to want. But of course, as you do it, you're pumping all this money into something, thinking to yourself, but someone's not going to want this. They might have their own system, and they might say, maybe this isn't the right direction. So there's always some uncertainty on our part. So what's your experience with maybe a company that has those systems and buying company that, yeah, you put a lot of money, but we don't actually value that.
I kind of look at it as a computer system, for instance. If all of a sudden it's Windows based, at least the staff are all trained on how to use Windows then at that point. Where if you're coming in and you hadn't put that technology in and they're still using that old technology, I look at it as, ooh, that's a bigger training thing that we're gonna have to tackle there basically, where, yeah, we might not use the same system that you have, but at least we've got employees that know how to process or work in that system. So that's more the way I value it, is just looking at how it affects the employee and are they gonna be able to adapt to our system then basically as well.
I'm picking up on that. I've got quite a spectrum of age range in the office, so, you know, so somebody's, you know, in their late 60s might not be wanting to use that new software, and so getting the adoption of it has been a full spectrum from, you know, a couple people are all in, you know, but it takes some time, and I don't know, we see benefit. Now, our ERP is built for like a very expensive platform, but I couldn't see running the business without it.
You did or you didn't go to expense, but we were using.
We use a software called Kawartha. Yeah, it's probably a little more useful.
Are you an engineer?
An engineer in the background, yeah.
Cause I've looked at BQE.
You looked at BQE?
Yeah, but it doesn't support resale goods too.
Right.
So it doesn't, it's really good for just, like IP, but not for like what we do.
Right. Yeah, like for us, it's geared towards like the human resource
Yeah.
that we have for our time.
But it's nice because it has like that project management, perk, you know, built into it, but the dashboards.
Yeah, and so I've been using BQE, and we've been using that software since 2017, and it's seen it certainly progress, over the last 7 years.
Just one observation, so you go back.
Sorry, can I just to clarify for me again, so you don't own companies, you work in companies, how, can you like tell me a bit about what your company does?
Sorry, yeah, my company is Workforce Wins, and we're like an HR outsourcing company. So we're kind of the remote HR department for 20 construction and trades companies in Ontario, and usually many of my clients are here today, so.
Okay, so what's your motivation for acquiring another company? Like, why would you want to buy another company?
So for my company, my job, I feel Workforce Wins, I think that we do offer some pretty good value for helping our clients who are in the business of possibly buying another company.
Oh, okay.
Right, so preparing for either succession, getting their HR house in order, retaining people, getting their health and safety in order, and everything in order to be ready for succession or acquisition, or to be in a real good position to have all those things in place to take a strong leadership when you do acquire somebody. You've got all those pieces in place. So does that make sense? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just to add to that, like on the acquisition side, we're helping us. So yeah, engage with a founding partner, 40% owner, backing associates, acquiring firms, yeah, I mean, Workforce Wins in terms of the acquisition, backing associates, help us navigate that process. I can't recall the specifics, but you know, when you're transitioning, transitioning employees from one firm to another, obviously you're dealing with the Employment Act, and how are you actually taking these employees who have X number of experience, years at this company, and transitioning over. So that huge element for us was, you know, for me, having, you know, an HR expert help us navigate that process.
So you bought an existing firm and you merged with an
We
existing
acquired
firm?
an existing firm.
Okay, and what's your gig?
So I'm with Green Tractors, so we're the John Deere dealership that basically we have dealerships from Kingston to Milton, so we've got 8 in total. So we started out with 5, there was 5, they merged together to form 5, and then we've acquired 3 since then. And to answer your question, it's more John Deere coming to us and saying, hey, Grant wants to retire, can we provide a solution for his employees that we can take over his store? So we work pretty in depth with John Deere because they're kind of the ones that are driving the boat, telling us who's going where kind of thing then too. So that's the reason why we acquire the stores, is just trying to complete the footprint to make sure that we're all tied together, because we don't want another John Deere dealer to come in and buy a store right in the middle of all our other ones. It's going to cause some problems. So we're trying to.
I get that motivation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why we just keep expanding. It's just to kind of make it solid our trade area basically.
So also sort of like, why bother? What's the motivation to pouring this?
Yeah, why would you want to buy another, I guess it would be either to help profitability or to fill a hole that you need to fill, or manufacturing, so you manufacture, so
Right.
would it be to like solve a problem, like say you wanted to make our own boxes and not outsource box cutting on a CNC, but instead of buying another company, we just expand a little bit and buy our own equipment,
For sure.
so I don't really have to buy another company.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in my own case, I'm a solar contractor, and in the States, there's an enormous solar contractor. We're an entirely different business model. We're very small, and all the personal service and making relationship with individual people. The model coming out of the States and large markets is completely different. Everything's sold online. The contract is signed before anything goes to the house. It drives me bananas. But that's coming here. And we need to decide if we want to carve out a niche and stay doing what we're doing, or do we want to find a way to expand and maybe not duplicate that style, but adopt some of those things. And so scale comes into that kind of decision. Can we do it ourselves, or do we need to join with someone else, either acquire or be acquired, to get more of that scale to tackle some of those different challenges?
So I'm in the same kind of thinking that you are. Do we like mold into something else bigger, not so custom? Because when you're so custom, it's hard to get bigger because you lose control.
Yeah.
In my case, I probably bought 3 or 4 3-man plumbing outfits.
Interesting.
Yeah, over time. And what I found is basically you get their land, their equipment, material, which you can buy anywhere. The main thing for me was their customer base, the phone numbers. So you get that phone number, and if you can retain the top 10 customers or 20 customers, it pays for itself, because you're either putting money into advertisement or marketing, or you buy another company, pay the same or whatever, but when you buy a company, you're guaranteed to get customers.
Right.
Like, and it's worked well that way.
Yeah. And you would get in the trades kind of sector where we are struggling to find, journey persons or whatever. And if you bought a company with 5 journey persons, hopefully 3 of them would come in and be successful in your organization, and that's the means of growth as well.
Yeah, I haven't bought a company that I got employees from.
Okay.
They were companies, they were going out of business,
Gotcha.
retiring, or for whatever reason they were going out. But you're correct, if there was employees there, they would usually be good employees.
Right.
And you'd be hiring something that you know is good. So,
And not just the customer list either. If you can get that history on what they bought for the last 5 years, it's going to feed your system.
yeah, I just find it, in my business, there's repeat, a lot of repeat. It isn't just a one time. So that repeat is what really keeps us going.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So I'm super interested because this is a second career for me. I was actually a sergeant with Toronto Police for 20 plus years, and then sort of have a pension, I have all that. So this is kind of more of a legacy project. And so I'm thinking about the next step in my company, but hoping that the employees actually take it over, because we've built it from the ground up. And I was wondering if you had any experience, and most more common in the United States, and less common here. But do you have any experience with what that looks like? Is it like a shareholder? Do you have any wisdom points for this?
Right, yeah. So I mean, that it's done. Often it's a family scenario where there's another generation.
Right.
I would say other scenarios, it would be a high performing employee who's excited and sees what the value is but on the corollary is I've also seen where people have on a silver platter been like, I'd love to make you the successor to my business and entrepreneurship and ownership is not for everybody, right? So it's a challenge, right? But those are the two main paths I see is that, you've been recruiting and retaining people with an eye to having a successor and having those informal conversations, and then family members as well.
So we're kind of in the same boat. I've got a couple of employees we're kind of targeting. I've just begun working with a consultant that specializes in this kind of stuff. So I don't really have anything to report yet, but they are helping us get rolling on how to identify these people, work with them, and help them, take a fork in the road. I mean, you never know, but at the end of the day, someone's got to decide this is something they want or this is something they don't want. And if it's something they want, then help encourage that and create a career path for them to.
And I think like the industries of architecture and engineering kind of have it figured out. Because you go to like junior associate, so you're buying into the firm as you go. But outside of those two sectors, I don't, maybe even in law too, I don't really see it. Like I don't see it in construction. I mean, we have a full bespoke section. I have a full shop with bespoke carpenter, very similar to Sandy, but we're making goods like when we chair, like things like that. We design it and make it, and then that goes into the project. But I would love to know how that kind of works because there may be that buy-in system and how do you get to that number? Like, you have senior partners, you have principals, you have managing principals, you have all these like kind of.
Have you had evaluation done on
No.
Yeah, so I mean, in our industry, it works on some typical factors, multiples of EBITDA or earnings, 3 to 6 times. So I'm in the process, for me, the M&A, I found this sort of fascinating. I think I sort of started this journey in 2018. We have some industry experts and consultants that go to these seminars. So I find it pretty interesting, but for sure you're going to need an evaluation of what the organization's worth in some sense. And in our industry, pretty much is a multiple earnings and average multiple earnings over years. And there's many nuances within that, right? You have an average over 3 years of your earnings, and that's the value of the company. But what happens, that 5-year business cycle where you fall some year, you can also partly set what the value of the organization is as you put together this, succession plan and you're tapping people for that becomes, what is it? The value is what people will pay for it. So, part of that is a little bit probably a marketing program for you, but I think having a sense of what your organization's worth is.
Well, sure, and as you grow, this is very freaking expensive, right? And so that impacts your bottom line. But when you can afford to grow, and you can, do good shareholder, like quality shareholder loans to have that growth happen, it takes a bit to see that investment, roll out. But in the model of a firm, so do you have those positions where people are buying into your firm?
We're coming to that point.
You're gearing up.
Yeah, they say it's a 5-year process, and we've been talking about this for at least 7. So right on the sales side, so it's then the acquisition, the sales side, I've got a little bit of room to do in sales.
We're at the same boat. We're at that succession stage, and probably the one thing I'd add, I agree with the evaluation. The other thing too is if you have employees in mind that you would like to kind of steer them towards it, I'd almost do a test run just to see, like, they could be a model employee, but then all of a sudden, if they're looking after the financials and trying to make personnel decisions, all of a sudden people change and can act a little differently too, so you almost want to take them for a test drive and make sure that that's the way that you want to go before you do start to split up and show some, like, how they can buy in and stuff like that then too, so.
So have you investigated, like, if you just used a constant number, say your valuation is $1 million,
Mm-hmm.
do you know what each partnership role is worth? Like, is there like a blueprint for that? If you want to be a managing partner, if you want to be a founding partner, if you want to be a senior?
Well, we sort of right now, like, based on the share classes that you set up, so you have voting shares or non-voting shares, so that can be one spot that we start. And if you want to talk about the principals and associates, or have some sort of ladder succession plan, then you might want to consider, you know, who's actually getting the vote and who's owning a piece of the pie. I forget, there's a good line about, you know, who has voting and versus ownership. Ownership, you know, if you have non-voting shares, you're part of something, but if you have voting shares, you're now a decision maker. So another way of doing a test run and allowing people to, you know, kind of climb the ladder, so to speak, is to start them off in a non-voting scenario. That's a little bit
Yeah.
that adds in. Yeah.
And I'd say in the deals that we've done, we've kind of got a model on how we evaluate another business, but none of them are the same. It's all based on that financial. I would look at how they're performing then too. It really drives the difference on what we pay for a business then too. So we start with a model, but it's unique for each one, that's for sure.
One quick item to add, and I'm not an accountant, but you know, there's a goodwill factor, which is a multiple of your earnings. So if I haven't mentioned that, you know, your average number of years multiplied by a goodwill factor. Well, goodwill is, you know, accountants will figure that out. But for example, if you're running the company and something happens to you tomorrow and the company can't proceed because you got all the knowledge, then your goodwill factor is pretty low. If you're in a situation where everybody's sort of running the operation, and so you're saying you put a lot into the business to build it, well, that's going to build your goodwill. So even though maybe your retained earnings are as high, you've got a higher rate factor on your goodwill. So two ways of looking at it, but yeah, valuation can be a little bit subjective, and you know, the discretion of the accountants in the industry to that. And I found that, you know, valuation, what's tricky in our industry, is that you can value a company at something, but you would make just as much. Like, it's not, for the owner, it's difficult to sell because your earnings are such that you make less to sell than you do to own. So we're finding that there's private equity entering the market, and so we think the valuations will start climbing on for it. You know, we're going to see bigger years of mergers and acquisitions are in our midst. So.
One of the things that we're finding is from John Deere that they call it basically the COVID years, where sales were higher than what they normally would be, and people are struggling on putting an evaluation on businesses because they've got 3 years worth of data, but it's all during COVID highs. So how do you get that back to an average? So like, it used to be that we'd use a 3-year average. We're getting up to 5 and 7 years now, just to try and level that out to make it more of a balance. Because if you were buying a company and you said, oh, look at all the sales they did in the last 3 years, well, you might work the next 10 years and never get to the same sales level. So it's not fair for me to pay more for it when we're never going to see those results at that level then too. So that's another thing that's just catching on now that we're coming off a high, and it's tough to evaluate that then too.
It's unrealistic. I looked at buying another cabinet company, and he sent his financials for the last 2 years, and I said, that was like 2 years in a barrel. I want to see the 2 years before.
Right, yeah.
And she said, he wouldn't buy.
Yeah, yeah. And I just putting on these guys, like Aaron's talking about, like, it is a long cycle, and JP alluded to it, like succession or preparing to sell your organization. you don't even know what outcome it might be, whether you're gonna sell it, individual succession. But if succession is involved, it takes a while, there's a lot of complexity, it's like a side project on its own, dealing with it, figuring out all the shares and everything like that. And then I've also seen situations where the process wasn't started and really, really great potential successors have come and gone in the interim, right? You know, so just again, it's an art, not a science, because bringing something like that can be complex and cause grief or whatever. But if you have a really strong candidate in your organization, having informal conversations, again, in whatever way, not to ruffle everybody's feathers, but testing the waters on those things, I think is important.
So can I ask, what's like the difference between just selling the company or trying to find people to buy in? Get people to buy in gradually, is that so that you've got a return?
You can set it up that way. Just speaking here. If someone different would just buy your company, then you're just selling one product and you're gonna get a lump sum. Now you have to consider the tax implications, because right now we still have, what was it, 1.2 capital gains lifetime credit? Okay, so if someone different buys in anything under 1.2, you don't have to pay any capital gains on.
1.2 million?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's one, used to be, I think it just went to
Yeah,
1.2.
it's gone up in the last couple of years, and I think.
Yeah.
that's
So now, in my case, my son and an employee are taking over. We're gonna stagger that, little by little, every year. What that will give me is, like a retirement pension, is what I'm gonna get, little by little. I'm still working it out, but because it's going to my son, I may have to pay capital gains on that. If it was somebody that wasn't really, I'm still working through how to do that without. So in my case, it's actually better to take a little by little every year. So, it allows my son and employee to buy it at a gradual pace, because for them to take a big lump sum money, right, it's harder for them.
Okay, here's a thought.
Sure.
You sell it little by little,